Gonna be perfectly honest with you guys before I get started. I completely forgot there was gonna be a new Indiana Jones film. So, Indiana Jones is getting a fifth movie, and not a lot of people are excited for it. I mean, why? Indiana Jones was a really big character back in the 80s. Raiders of the Lost Ark is a classic. The Temple of Doom was amazing. And The Last Crusade is, in my mind, the best Indiana Jones film ever made. And then Kingdom of the Crystal Skull happened. I think the reason why Kingdom of the Crystal Skull happened is because Lucasfilm was doing something with the two franchises that they had. Star Wars, they had the original trilogy, and now they're bringing in the new trilogy for the next generation, and they wanted to bring in Indiana Jones back for the next generation. Only problem is, Star Wars had an idea going forward. Indiana Jones did not, and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull really shows. So they decided to shelf the character, and that was that. But now Disney owns Lucasfilm and they want to bring Indiana Jones back. Only this time we don't have George Lucas or Steven Spielberg attached to the project. And that right there is the first red flag when it comes to a lot of fans. I mean, Steven Spielberg and George Lucas, they were the ones that came up with this idea in the first place. And another thing that's probably turning off a lot of people is that it's the same thing that happened in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. In Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, everything looked like a soundstage. There are some places that were definitely CGI. It just did not look realistic. It just did not look like a place that you can go to. Whereas in the original trilogy, they used real locations, real places, and they're going after artifacts that you only read in religious books. So, if you make the locations real, actual places where you can go to, feel, and actually enjoy the countryside, it makes the artifacts that they're looking for even more real at the same time. With Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, to basically make up the world around you on a computer, it just doesn't have that formula anymore. And with Indiana Jones 5 coming along, we're thinking to ourselves, they're not going to use sets, they're not going to use actual locations, they're just going to use a green screen, and that's just going to be it. And another thing that I don't think that probably leads to this as well is probably the same thing that happened to the Terminator movies. I mean, the Terminator was a smash hit. It came out of nowhere, and it was a classic. And then Terminator 2 happened, and it was bigger than ever. It just blew up. And then they started making even more sequels. You had the third sequel, which was at one point, the worst Terminator movie ever made until the fourth movie came out. But they did the same thing. Like Lucasfilm did with Indiana Jones. They realized that these movies are not good. They're not going anywhere. We have no idea. So it's time to put these stories to bed. And then they brought them back again, and people got excited for it. People were ready for it. But they were just worse. They were just that bad. And it was just those stories were completely all over the place, and we're afraid that's what's going to happen with the new Indiana Jones film. I mean, have you seen that last trailer? The one part that people are definitely rolling their eyes at was the part where they went, all right, I stole it, I stole it, I stole it, I stole it, I stole it. That's called capitalism. The problem with movies nowadays is that they bring too much politics or make things political and all of it. They bring in today's stuff, they bring in the protests, they bring in the movements and all that type of stuff, and we're tired of watching that. We are tired of seeing the same thing preached to us over and over and over again. And this time, by saying it in the trailer, you're not hiding it. And that's just turning a whole lot of people off. So there is a lot of problems when it comes to the new Indiana Jones film and why people are not excited for it. And I do not think it has anything to do with Harrison Ford's age, because he is Indiana Jones. He is the Indiana Jones that we all grew up to love, even though, yeah, the older you get, there's a lot of things you need to let go. That's life. But he will always be Indiana Jones in our hearts. I mean, it's sad that we have to see the older generation finally slip away, but that's life. So, and what else did I want to say? Oh yeah, and studios need to understand right now is that when it comes to franchises, there needs to be a stop button. I mean, with the original Star Wars, they looked like they were coming out with new ideas. They didn't have that. If you watch my video a video I made a few days ago, you'll understand my opinion on where they're going with Star Wars. And also when it came to the Terminator, like I talked about, they just continue making them and they're just getting a whole lot worse. Even with the Marvel movies, it looked like it could officially end with Endgame. But no, they're continuing on the stories and we're tired of seeing it. We're just bled dry of these stories. Why? Because we have an ending and we want to stick with it. Like for example, J.R.R. Tolkien. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. When The Hobbit came out, it was a big hit. He wrote The Lord of the Rings because he figured there was more to the story. And he was right. They became a smash hit. And he could have continued on with it. He could have continued on with the characters, with their own stories. He could have made a huge franchise out of it. No, he did not. He decided, this is the end. This is the end of the story. If I make even more of it, it's just going to ruin it. So adding more to a story can literally cause more harm than good. And that's one of the things I feel is going to happen in the next Indiana Jones film. They're just going to bring in identity politics like they always do. They're just going to CGI everything, and it's just not the same Indiana Jones that we grew up watching. So it's just not there anymore. But anyway, those are my thoughts for the 5th Indiana Jones film. Maybe it would be good. Maybe it won't. But then again, the movie hasn't come out. So in other words, what do I know? But anyway, those are my thoughts. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please follow my channel, leave a like, subscribe, and share my videos as well. Also, if I missed anything, if you have any opinions on your own, comment them down below, and I'll see you in the next video.